Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, bright and early Monday then. There's a lot that's been happening. We're watching the political scene. We'll come back to that, maybe not today, but just looking at the community, society, and the laws. Keeping the law in Lagos seems to be something of a challenge. Of course, I'm saying that because two main areas, one in the transportation sector, the Okada ban from 2020, February 2020, clearly hasn't yielded the desired result, which prompted Governor Sanwo-Olu recently, in fact, last week, to now reimpose the law, as it were, saying that, look, in 6 local government councils, government areas and their councils, there will be 100% compliance. He has directed the police commissioner to ensure that the law is kept without compromise. The governor added those 2 words. That's on the one hand. That's one aspect of the law, and people thumbing their nose at the law. The other aspect where you find in Lagos that people thumb their nose up at the law seems to be in the building sector, referencing here collapse of buildings, which unfortunately is not exactly a scarce or a rare story in Lagos. Another one happened recently on Freeman Street. Well, my guest this morning is Mr. Gbenga Omotoso, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos. Good morning to you, Gbenga. It's great to have you. Great to have you on.
Thank you.
There seems to be a challenge, I would say, or wait for you, because there's so many laws that exist on our books. For instance, that of street trading, for example. Just take a drive any of the major streets in Lagos and you'll find that it is as if nobody has ever thought of that kind of a thing before. All sorts of people are selling all sorts of things, including vegetables on our highway on the one hand. And as I was saying, buildings are still collapsing. What is it? Let me just start from here. People say, and I don't put too much stock on this, but I'm going to put it to you anyway. People say that one of the reasons why Lagos can't enforce the law as it should without fear or favor, without looking anybody in the face, is because of politics and the fact that those that are breaking the law supposedly have very large numbers that would count in an election. I've seen you online ridiculing that particular premise, but can you understand where it's coming from?
Well, I do not know where it's coming from. All I know is that the governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, if he makes a pronouncement, he stands by it. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of honor. He's a man who believes in his words and he keeps his word. So if he says, for example, on Okada, that June 1st, Okada should not be found in all the places that he mentioned, those 6 local governments, I assure you, by June 1st, they will not be found there. And if people are going about saying that because of elections that are coming, that Mr. Sanwo-Olu may change his mind, I think it's preposterous of anybody to think like that. It is ridiculous, it is absurd, and incredible for anybody to go and think like that, that Mr. Sanwo-Olu will go back on his word. He will trade the lives and limbs of Lagosians for votes. No, he's not going to do that.
Okay.
He's not going to do
that. It's good that we're hearing this, but it's not the first time that in fact, through the governors, earlier governors in Lagos have all taken a stab at this, going back to Minister Fashola when he was governor of Lagos. It didn't work out, and after some time, after a few days in the past, after a few days, things seem to return to normal. I think in Fashola's time, the emphasis was on protection for both the rider and the passenger, aka helmet and all of that. And Lagos, as you can imagine, they didn't seem to like it, and after some time, the status quo returned. So, whereas I take entirely what you've just said, that Governor Sanwo-Olu is a man of his word and he's serious, it also is unfortunately true that there have been equally serious pronouncements from past governors.
Well, I would not want to talk about past governors, but I want to talk about the time of Mr. Sanwo-Olu. We have to look at it chronologically. Look at the time, for example, in 2020 when Mr. Sanwo-Olu, I think on February 1, pronounced a ban on Okada on major highways, major roads, and on all bridges in Lagos State. At that time, nobody ever knew that COVID-19 was going to come upon us. So when COVID-19 came, I mean, we were public health issue that consumed so much of our time, that consumed so much of our minds, that consumed so much of our resources. Nobody was thinking about Okada at that time. In fact, if you remember, there was a time we even had a lockdown. People were asked to stay indoors. And all of these things happened because there was no way we could enforce the law, because those who are supposed to enforce the law were also fighting for their lives. Everybody was struggling against COVID-19. And now that COVID-19 is gone, we have a very scary statistics about Okada, and then the governors just felt that it's time for us to move against this kind of trend. In Lagos, the first quarter of this year, we have had about 1,712 accidents. And of these 1,712, Okada is about 767, which is 45%. And then who are the people involved in these accidents? Who died? People between the ages of 30 and 39 years. They constituted 54% of people who died in the accidents. And there is no governor who will look at our young, able-bodied people, promising people, leaders of tomorrow, who are doing so much in areas of entertainment, in technology, in sports, in tourism, in everything, and then they are dying like this all because they mounted Okada. So the governor said enough. And apart from that, there are so many security concerns that we cannot just be talking about on television. And the governor felt that he has a responsibility to protect the lives and property of Lagosians, and for us not to see the kind of things we are seeing in some other states in Lagos. So in our say, well, we have to pull the brakes on Okada, and that is why the governor came out to do this. So if anybody feels that it's going to be business as usual in a few months, the person is getting it wrong.
To be like that.
The factors propelling this pronouncement that Mr. Sanwo-Olu has made, the factors are so real, they are so vivid, they are so tough that there can't be any going back. And besides that, Lagosians themselves are who need this process. They are possessing it. They are the ones who are now even seeing that the danger that we spoke about 2 years ago, that the danger is right here at our doorsteps. And all of us are Lagosians who are proud of being called Lagosians, must come together and see that what is coming, the big picture, that we have to stop it.
Okay, you reeled off some stats there, which indicates to me that there's been a very serious study of the situation, monitoring it, and then leading up to the actual pronouncement. We are on the traffic side of the shall I call it, challenge of people just abiding by the law for the benefit of all of us. Now, as I was saying, what have you found out when you would have investigated it, that the composition of Okada operators are those who, I don't even know if I can call them Okada operators, but you know what I mean. If you get on top of a motorcycle, you become a one-man Okada operator. My suspicion is that they are not made mostly of indigenes of Lagos.
Well, Lagos, I would like to say, is a victim of its own success. The economy is doing well, and in Lagos, there is security of lives and property. In Lagos, there is no discrimination. In Lagos, everybody has a sense of belonging. In Lagos, everybody is free to do whatever he or she likes in terms of business, so long as you are law-abiding. So like I said, because Lagos is successful, it's attracting people from all manner of places, from all the states of the Federation, from West African country, even from Europe. People come in here to set up, to do things.
But not to do Okada.
Not to do Okada. But you see, there are people...
Because we want people to come in and partner with us.
Yeah, because of the insecurity we have in other parts of the country. People are leaving their farms, people are leaving their trades, and they are coming into Lagos. And some of them, they feel that the only way to make money so fast in Lagos, you don't need a license, you don't need to register with anybody, you don't need to learn the trade, is to mount Okada and begin to run around the whole place, all because you want to make money. But people have now seen, Lagosians have now seen that this thing is beyond the commercial aspect of it that we are seeing. It is more of a security problem. It's more of a security risk that we are seeing. And that if we do not stop it now, it may get to a stage that it may consume all of us.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But just simply by observation, most of the Okada riders appear to be northern, one. Two, even from neighboring West African countries, which you mentioned earlier, the allegation is that it's very difficult to know who is a Nigerian and who is not a Nigerian, between a Nigerian and a Nigerian, Malian. I don't know that Ghana is involved. You know, everybody seems to have their own pattern. Now, we understand that there are states in this country that have an Okada ban, a complete ban. You can't do Okada in, I believe, Kano, I believe, Port Harcourt.
Kaduna.
You can't do it. Yes.
No.
So why?
Kano.
Yes, sir.
No.
So that is where I was looking at, and we phrase this under that of keeping the law in Lagos. They have a law in those places, and everybody is cooperating, and they kept the law. But in Lagos, is it because of the hospitality and all of that? And as you said, you don't need to register. Maybe that's a problem in itself. If you wanted to become an Okada operator, I don't think you allow cars to operate without some sort of a registration. So is there a lacuna there? Is Lagos State itself, did it miss one or two beats in that regard?
Again, I would like to repeat the fact that Lagos is a victim of its own success. Because Lagos is successful, people are secure in Lagos. So all manner of people coming in from West African countries.
Yes.
I would like to put on record what the Arewa community said yesterday. They had a press conference. I praise them for that, to say that everything that the government has done and has said that is going to do about Okada, that they are in agreement. That even the security agencies should fish out all the bad ones among them. That most of these guys are not from Nigeria, that there are Cameroonians, Malians, and whatever among them. And that they, as Arewa community, they are in support of what the government has done, and they are going to tell those of them who are riding Okada to listen to what the government has said.
Okay.
So it
the Arewa community, and that's led by the Seriki Hausawa.
No, I think the issue they communicate signed by their Secretary General. But all of the leaders of the Arewa community were there yesterday on Akime Road, so they had a meeting.
Who is the Arewa community? What is the Arewa
people
community?
From the north.
Oh, okay.
Because there is this strong impression that only people from the north are in the Okada business, and that maybe the government is moving against them. It's wrong. All manner of people are in Okada business.
It's just that
in Lagos, you don't discriminate. There are Igbo people, there are Yoruba people, there are Ishekri. There are all manner of people in the business of Okada as they are in other businesses. So we do not discriminate in Lagos. So it's not that the law was made to target them.
Okay, this goes back to what the Arewa community, as you've explained it now, what they are. Reported to have said earlier that if government was able to see its way to reconsidering this ban, they can what is it now? Assure them of votes when the time comes and when they need votes.
Yeah, I read that, and I think with due respect to all of the people who have that kind of thought, it's arrant nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous of anybody to think that the governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, will trade the lives and limbs of Lagosians for a few votes. If people don't want to vote because Lagos State government has said no Okada, Lagos State government has said that our young people, able-bodied people, who have gone to school, who are trying to eke out a living in Lagos should be dying because they are mounting Okada. Well, let them keep their votes. But I tell you, Mr. Sanwo-Olu is a man of integrity, he's a man of his words, he's a man who feels that Lagosians will ride in dignity. And that is why he's doing all of the things he's doing in the transport sector. Lagos Ride, the last mile and first mile buses. So I do not see why anybody can think that because elections are coming, that the governor is going to change his mind. Okay. They should perish that thought.
Just looking at the way the Okada is crazy when it comes to traffic, you know, in Lagos. They don't obey street, they don't obey traffic signs. The thing is on red, the light is on red, which is stop. Everybody else stops. But because you're a two-wheeler, you just go. Even officials, even police or traffic officials that are at some junctions, it's no big deal. They don't raise an eyebrow. It looks like it's become that, okay, you guys have only two wheels, so you're not part of this problem or whatever. Whatever, it's wrong, but you find that this happens a lot. But now that the governor has, you know, spoken to the police and asked them to enforce the order without compromise from the 1st of June. We look forward to that time and see indeed how it is going to be. But let me ask that the sort of fracas that happened, it was thought to come out of this ban, that people were angry, that is those that it directly concerns, the riders, all these people, you know. By the way, how many does the investigation show you that we have in Lagos? Because they swarm. They swarm. Are you able to get a hold of how many of those things are actually operating?
In fact, that is part of the problem. You stay at a Baga bus stop a few minutes away from here, and you see how these guys are being shipped into Lagos, and you begin to wonder what is going on. We ask people staying in Lagos, if you know that you are going to stay more than 3 months, come and take class card so that we can be able to account for you, so that we can be able to take care of you, so that should anything happen, we'll be able to trace you. But they won't come and take class card. They don't want anything that is regulatory. All they want is a license-fair attitude, and they want to turn Lagos into a jungle. And Lagos is not a jungle. And we are saying that, no, we have laws here, we have regulations. Our people are very proud of being called Lagosians. If you want to become part of us, you have to be law-abiding. Mm-hmm. And in any case, Okada is not in our program for the greater Lagos that we are talking about. Part of
the big danger is that these, I don't know if it is hundreds or thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of such motorcyclists made up of all sorts of Nigerians with a preponderance of, you know, Arewa and other, you know, thing. I don't know that they actually have landlords. That's another aspect to this whole thing. When people are, you know, doing surveys and getting data, you want to know where is your abode, what's your address, in addition to your name and whatever. These people, they're here today, and when you need them for any investigation, they're not there anymore. That's a serious security lapse challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very big challenge that we are facing in Lagos, that you have thousands of people without any known address which you can trace them to. You have people who at night you get to a place and just see them in their hundreds sleeping on Okada, and then in the morning for 100 naira they can go to a place and take a shower, and then they mount Okada again and begin to operate. For how long are we going to watch this happen? And the security people, there are so many things they can't come on television and begin to say. And Lagosians themselves, they have seen it. They have seen it in the death of the CSP in Isolo, who was killed the other day in Ajao Estate. A CSP. I mean, then they have seen it in the young man, the engineer, who was killed in Lekki a few days ago.
But so it was a mob action. There's a misunderstanding, and then they mobbed him. That level of taking the law into their own hands without any fear of the authorities at all is worrying.
Yeah, the Okada connection in what happened in Lekki is also there. I mean, it was a mob action of Okada people or passers-by, and whatever, a mob. But then the Okada connection is there. So Lagosians are seeing every day that there is a huge danger. And the government has seen the larger picture. And the government is saying that, well, credit us with some intelligence. We know what is going on, and we are going to stop it. We are going to do everything to ensure that Lagos is safe. We cannot say because of people who are earning a living, riding Okada, then we put the lives of everybody at risk. Yoruba people have a proverb. They say that the chicken was feeding on something before the arrival of the corn. So, I mean, our people were into various dignifying trades before the arrival of Okada.
Yeah.
Today, you can't find good vulcanizers, you can't find good plumbers, you can't find good masons. What is going on?
Since this is going to be implemented, they're talking about the Okada ban totally in the 6 local, government areas. And it's, I recall that this is a phased ban. We're talking about, this is like a first phase,
right.
6 of them.
Right.
There are areas now where the ban does not reach, so they can continue that. But I wanted to ask, people are complaining that there are far too many of them, just by the way they can swarm within seconds. They can swarm. When their present occupation/trade, if one is going to call it that, has now been taken away by law, you had mentioned, and everybody knows, that anybody can live anywhere in Nigeria. So what's going to now happen? We've just said that they don't have landlords because they don't have houses. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
First, let me make a quick correction there.
Sure.
It's not that these guys, because a ban has been pronounced in 6 local governments, then they have a laissez-faire situation where they can operate wherever they like. The law, Lagos State Traffic Law of 2012, is still alive. It's still there for us to obey, for us to observe. If you ride Okada anywhere in Lagos, major highways, major roads, on bridges, it is strong. Anywhere in Lagos, the law is still there. But what we have done is that in these 6 local governments, Okada should not be seen at all. Mm-hmm. And like you observed, the governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said this is the first phase, and is going to continue. So the thing is that Lagosians themselves are now realizing the danger that Okada symbolizes, not just in the area of breaking limbs and smashing heads, but also in security matters. You look at the security problems all over the country, and you look at the role of Okada in it, then you get scared that you have an army of these riders in Lagos who are not accounted for by anybody, who are just flying all over the place the way they like.
We go back to the security implication of this. People just arrive in Lagos ready-made, meaning these people that we're talking about arrive with their motorcycles. So they've come with their shop. They've come with what they're going to start doing. Now, the authorities, the licensing authorities, regulatory motor traffic authorities, I don't know if these people are up and doing, because you can't just put a motorcycle on the road and begin to. Or does all the computerized thing affect only motorists, in which case it will be a serious security lapse if it is not able to capture motorcyclists as well, so you know which ones are illegal, which ones are unregistered, which one cannot be traced if you need to trace them, and so deal with this problem. They come in the night, they come in trailers, they come disguised as the motorcycles come hidden among other produce. What can be done to at least stem this? Because people are scared that, in fact, people have gone to the level of saying that, you know what, people are coming into Lagos are quote-unquote soldiers for when there might be a time for that. I mean, these scare stories are just going all over the place.
Well, I've had so many stories too, and I have said that there are so many things that security agencies see that they don't come on television to talk about. These guys are coming to Lagos to ride Okada, not because Lagos is registering them. We don't register Okada in Lagos, but what they do is to go to neighboring states to register, and then they put a number plate on it and begin to fly all over the place. And there are so many of them who are not even registered at all. You look at the Okada, it has no number plate at all. It has no identification. The rider has no identification. The motorbike itself has no identification. So it is all for us. Lagosians have seen it, that if we continue like this could be the end of it, and then nobody wants it. Lagos State government tried as much as possible to see if you could if you could bend this problem, make it malleable a little bit, but couldn't do that. And we just came to the conclusion that what you cannot bend, you have to end. And Lagos State government is going to end this, what you have called Okada menace, but we have called Okada a pest of riders, an armada of Okada.
Because they're not skilled, they're not trained at all. They're a danger to themselves and the passengers that they carry. And
then they are killing our young people.
Exactly.
I mean, 767 accidents in 4 months. That's damn too much for anywhere in the world to contain. I mean, it's not a war.
It's not a war, but immediately after the ban, as announced by the governor last week, it might have been a coincidence, but there was a sort of what appeared to be a reaction from that community, sort of a disturbance of the peace. Was that expected?
Of course, it was expected. Human beings don't like change. They like a licentious attitude, especially the particular people we are talking about. They want to turn Lagos into a jungle. So when the security people went there to stop them from riding on major highways, on bridges, on major roads, they met them with violence.
And a lot of these people have been ejected from their own states. But as you were explaining, because of the hospitality of Lagos, they sort of made a beeline for here, and we are looking. Mr. George, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, and good morning to the commissioner.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, sir. Lagos, a lot has been invested in Lagos, and many of us that are residents of Lagos, we are proud of what we have here. I don't know of any mega city where Okada operators are allowed to just go anywhere they like. Look at the rail system that Lagos is bringing. Look at the various developmental strides that they are trying to bring into Lagos that will make it an international mega city. We cannot afford to have insecurity in Lagos State. Let us take lessons from the federal government. You see where the federal government failed to do something at the right time. Now, such states are insecure and they can no longer address it. Uncle Yori, I have taken the pain to do some investigation. Those Okada riders you are seeing, an average of 6 out of 10 are not Nigerian. They don't even understand any Nigerian language. They are not from the north. They don't speak Hausa, they don't speak Fulani. So how do you just allow people like that to be operating freely?
Exactly.
If the government wants to ban the Okada, they should ban it totally.
Which the governor has done. Okay. The governor has done that in 6 local government areas now.
The enforcement should be done not only with the police, but with last man, because the police will not be able to enforce it the way Lagos State wants it. Let them use last man also to enforce it.
Okay.
So that we can have the peace that we have been having in Lagos. Once insecurity starts, to stop it is almost impossible. So it's taking time. Phase 9.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I had to tell the Honorable Commissioner this morning.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. When the governor made the announcement of the ban, I seem to recall that he had said it's not just going to be by the police, that is the enforcement, that there will be other agencies of government so it will be a sort of a joint effort. So if anybody is intending to be breaking the law, the police is not the only person you need to be afraid of.
That meeting of last Tuesday that Mr. Babajide, Sanwo-Olu, the governor, had with the police is the first time that the governor has met with the commissioner of police, all area commanders, and all DPOs. And they applauded the decision that Okada should be banned, and that this is not a new law. The law has been in existence. You gentlemen go out there and enforce it. So what is going to happen is that once a governor makes a pronouncement, it is the duty of all law enforcement agencies to implement that pronouncement.
Including LASMA, as our viewer suggested?
Yes.
I don't know if the
Civil Defense, LASMA, Neighborhood Watch, all law enforcement agencies, once the governor makes a pronouncement, should go and enforce it. And this time around...
But they all slept off, it appears, is why the governor needed to now call everybody together and say it again.
You're right.
They slept off.
You're right.
Okay.
All of us, they went in that slumber because of what I have said before, COVID-19 and so many other things, because we had a bigger fish to fry at that time. COVID-19 was very big for us.
Ayomide is on the line. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for calling in. Go right ahead, please.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to sincerely appreciate what... Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to appreciate what the governor have done by banning them in 6 local governments in Lagos.
In the first instance.
All right. I would say you still have much to do. Why not to come down in all the Lagos, in every part of Lagos? Let the enforcement carry out their work at once. Now, the first banning, immediately the governor announces it, they were attacked. The police were attacked at Ojo. That shows Lagos right now is not secure. We know this. I could vividly remember I was driving along Ojo Road. I saw where, I don't know, maybe it's all these Arewa people or no, the Awusas, where they were selling dagger. In a state where there is security, dagger that's used to, it's a weapon, confidently on the street.
Yeah.
A lot of atrocity were being committed by these Okada's people. If they scratch your car...
Thank you very much, Ayomide. I appreciate your call, but because of time, I've got to interrupt you. But we have enough for the commissioner to react to. Why he's asking, even though I called it a phased ban, 6 local councils, but he was asking the questions, why not everything totally?
Well, a lot of things that were put on the table before that pronouncement was made. We need to have a template of how to implement the pronouncement Mr. Sanwo-Olu has made. So that's why we said insist local governments. But like I said, all over Lagos, the Lagos State Traffic Law of 2012 is still alive, it's still in operation. And because this law is still alive, anybody who rides Okada on all major highways in Lagos, on all major roads, on all bridges, is committing an offense. So that it is the 6 local governments, June 1st, that is okay. What it means is that those 6 local governments, Okada must not be seen at all, they must not be found, they must not be heard, they must not be visible.
So you'll see how that goes and then know,
yes,
talking about another phase.
Yes, but because the governor said it categorically, clearly, explicitly that it's a phased ban.
Okay.
So when we finish with those 6 local governments, it is a warning sign to all the others in all the other local governments to go and find other things to do. And there are so many other things to do in Lagos.
Indeed. Okay, now, we're talking about the law and people thumbing their nose at the law, putting us in this kind of a problem. The other aspect of that is in the building sector. We have a report on that, a building that collapsed. And as a matter of fact, some good news came out of it in the sense that just reading the papers this morning, they found a young lad, 18-year-old lad, I believe, and rescued him. But here's that story.
At least 4 bodies have now been recovered from the rubble of a 3-story building that collapsed during the heavy rainfall on Saturday. According to emergency responders and eyewitnesses, the building, which was under construction, collapsed about 1:45 p.m., affecting adjoining buildings.
Our enforcement apparatus is intact, rigid. We have already booked this place. We have informed them that they should not go ahead with the development of the structures here. But you will discover that they always cut corners.
Alayaki Lane, where the building is located, has a cluster of buildings. Due to lack of space, some structures had to be pulled down to allow emergency responders access the site. Residents say the building was originally a bungalow. It was later awarded to a developer who was converting it into a 3-story structure.
Appeal to good people of Lagos State to always abide with the rules and regulations. However, we will, I repeat, we will not hesitate to intervene anytime that we deem it necessary.
Neighbors and onlookers all around the debris, just watching and waiting for any directive from the government. Perhaps their homes may be marked for testing or demolition. TVC News tried to speak with some residents on camera, but they declined.
The owner of the building, like the developer, is nowhere to be found for now. You can't find him. So.
But it's someone you know?
Yes, someone I know. We see what's going on, but just feel like let's don't say anything. Let's just leave them with their wildlife, it's their problem. So.
At least 8 persons died on the 1st of May 2022 when the 3-story building collapsed in Ebute Metta. The frantic search for survivors may be over, but the bone of contention remains. What would the government do to distressed buildings that are already marked around the Lagos Island? And will they be able to enforce the already existing building laws in Lagos to avert an incident like this from happening again? Sarah Ayiku, TVC News, Lagos.
Very good question.
Okay, thanks to Sarah Yeku there. The report went out earlier, of course. We saw Dr. Femi Okeosanyintolu, the CEO of LASEMA there. And but before I continue, good morning, Ada. Thank you for holding on while we were away on break. Okay, we just lost Ada, who had held on, shall I say, valiantly. We're so sorry, Ada. You waited through the break, right through that report, and then finally it gave out. Sorry about that, Ada. See if you can call in again. Again, staying on the theme of government not...
Hello.
Ada is back immediately. Good morning, Ada.
Good morning, Mr. Yoria and Commissioner. It's Ada calling from Jos Plateau State.
Thank you for calling.
The ban is a welcome development, but if you ask me, let it be a blanket ban. Let it be, not a phase, whatever he's talking about.
Not in 6.
All these talk about saying because of elections, I don't buy into that. That will not make him lose any election. Most of them are non-Nigerians in the first instance. They are criminals. There's this mentality that Lagos is no man's land. So people coming there being lawless. How can you have Okada riders who have no fixed address? You don't know where they are operating from. And with this ISWAP thing they are talking about, Kaduna State Governor has raised alarm and all that. You don't know whether they are migrating to Lagos. You wouldn't know under the guise of riding Okada. So let them phase it out. Kanu was able to do it. If we should borrow a little from Kanu, Kanu was able, and today they are benefiting from it. That's why their level of insecurity is much, much lower than the other northern states. So that is it. And then about building collapse, please, it's becoming one too many. There should be punitive measures. I don't know what is happening.
Okay.
I've never heard of people being punished for buildings collapsing in Lagos or all over Nigeria.
Exactly.
They should wake up.
Thank you very much, Ada. Thank you very much for especially for waiting and then for calling back again. What is the challenge of government in enforcing these laws? The Okada people observe the laws in the breach. Even building professionals, we saw Dr. Femi Okeosanyintolu there, the CEO of LASEMA, telling us that you stop work, they come back in the night, and even at that, how can these things be done?
You see, in whatever we are saying concerning implementing a law, we have to look at the human element, enforcing a law. We have to look at the human element. One of those people who spoke on that program, he said they knew what was going on but that they just they left them to their own devices because they felt it was their own private, personal problem. So if
and that they probably are also thinking that if government is not satisfied, anything you do, government knows now, and if you are doing it, it means government has seen it and they're not doing anything.
It is very easy for everybody to ask the question, what is the government doing? It's very easy for everybody to say that the ball is always in the court of the government. But one thing that I want Lagosians to be thinking about is that, yes, we talk about our rights, we talk about our privileges. We should also spare a thought for responsibility. We all should be responsible. If the government has gone to mark a house, and then people are going to create another entrance through the back, and going in there to build at night, to build at weekends when they know that enforcement officers are not going to be around, neighbors have a duty, a responsibility to humanity to raise the alarm that these people are building and that this is wrong, and the government will move in. Then for those who are saying, what is the government doing? A few days ago, about 2 weeks ago, in just 1 week, government pulled down 6 houses. 6 in about a week. I mean, this is not something that is
government
easy.
itself,
Government
demolition.
Yes, government went in there and pulled down those buildings, about 6 of them, in about less than 2 weeks. And this is going to continue. Government will keep on demolishing,
especially in old Lagos, the Saleko axis or Central
whether
Lagos,
whatever. Old Lagos, in the heart of Lagos,
because those houses were built, many of them, almost 100 years ago.
I mean, imagine this one, the bungalow, and then the developer decided to mount some more floors on it.
It would have had to get approval from a regulatory authority.
That is the problem. Most of them don't have approval. Nobody is going to approve that kind of building for you. And that is why the Lagos State government will go in there and put a notice there that you should stop work. Instead of stopping work, they will find a way to go and start building again.
Okay.
And
but I can only
look at the calamity.
Yes. I can only assume that in spite of all of this, government is resolute, and I imagine all eyes are on Lagos, not just the government, Lagos, the government, and its peoples regarding this phased Okada ban in the first instance.
Sure.
Where they're going to want to hang on to the governor's words to the police, please enforce order without compromise.
Yes, it's a question of integrity. It's a question of dignity of Lagosians. It's a question of loyalty to the people. So there is nothing going to change what the government has done.
Thank you very much, Gbenga Omotoso, Honorable Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos, for coming on our program and shedding light on these areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, then. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.